Hmm. PlayStation 4. Xbox One. Hmm. When are those consoles going to officially die? Hmm. Well, I actually got some news for you out there that are wondering about the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One generation. Let's get to this video, shall we? Alright, so welcome back to our officially new channel name, Tech and Gaming Reviews. And there's actually been a very question now since we are in part of the year of 2022. We're now basically a quarter through the year 2022, which, can you imagine how fast time is going? Because literally 2022 just feels like it just started yesterday. But besides all those notes, we are officially now a quarter of the way through 2022, and there's been a question, especially now with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X being out on the market for roughly almost a year and a half. And that question is when are Sony and Microsoft and developers going to quit discontinuing, or manufacturing, to say, making games, for those platforms? And now, considering that we are officially a year and a half into the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S's life cycle, well, I actually got some pretty strong news, and this is not really anything confirmed or any, information from either Sony or Microsoft. This is just personally coming from us giving our personal take of when we can expect that games are going to start slowly discontinuing being manufactured for those two platforms. Now, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One have huge library of games, and right now, if you still only had a 360 or PlayStation 3 or any other older generation system that's older than the PS4 and Xbox One, now it's the good time to get a PS4 or an Xbox One. And if you have a 4K television like what we have right there, then you're probably going to want to get at least something like the PS4 Pro and or the Xbox One X, so you can get some kind of upgrades and, amazing looking visuals and whatnot that games honestly still look to this day, which I personally still think. And you will be very close up to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X's level with visuals. But here's what I personally think of when we can start to expect that games are going to start slowly discontinuing being manufactured on the PS4 and Xbox One. Now, we are officially now a quarter of the way through 2022, and the PS5 and Series X have launched on November 10th and November 12th of 2020, especially here in the United States of America. And honestly, it's still, even to this day, it's still roughly really hard to get either of the two consoles. Now, I have mentioned that the Xbox Series S is still somewhat hard, but you're more than likely to find a Series S in store shelves than as you would with either a PS5 or Series X. But it's starting to look like the Series X is starting to be, widely available, maybe not in stores, but online and whatnot. But the PlayStation 5, the PS5 All Digital Edition, good luck. Those are the two still the hardest consoles to find. And honestly, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are both incredible, but the PS5 is definitely a much more popular console. More consumers want it than the Series X, even though the Series X is having almost similar numbers with the PlayStation 5 as of right now when it comes to, console sales and whatnot. But the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, they both came out in November 2013, and we got mid-generation upgrades with the PS4 Pro launched in November 10th of 2016, and the Xbox One X on November 7th of 2017, and these are truly the very first gaming consoles that takes fully advantages of, higher graphical fidelity with 4K visuals and much more higher frame rate options, with games having the 4K low frame rate or the high frame rate and the lower resolution option. And honestly, that's what it seems like it's going forward with the Series X and PS5 is developers are starting to give more options of graphics and frame rates to basically people to let them choose if they want higher frame rate or higher graphics and whatnot. And the PS4 Pro and the One X basically started the graphical options ever, and they're still incredible consoles and still have wonderful looking games still to this day. But here's when I think that Sony and Microsoft, well, pretty much the developers are going to, no longer be developing their games for the PS4 and Xbox One. Microsoft has announced that they would indeed be making games, especially like Forza Horizon 5, like Halo Infinite, for the Xbox One platforms, at least exclusive titles, at least for the first 2 years of the Xbox Series X's life cycle, which we're about there. We're almost exactly about to hit 2 years of these consoles being out on the market. Once November hits, it will officially be 2 years into the console's life cycle. So, but that doesn't mean that Microsoft was also saying third-party games too. Now, third-party games are basically up for the developers. And as you remember with the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, there was games still coming out for those platforms for like roughly 3 to almost 4 years with those consoles being out on the market. So you were still basically getting games on those consoles until late 2016 to early 2017. And honestly, that's what I think is going to happen with this. So my personal perspective from what I think is I think that either by late 2023 or possibly sometime in the middle of the year of 2024, probably early to mid 2024, is when most developers are going to no longer be supporting of making and developing games on the PS4 and Xbox One. Is I think between late 2023 to mid 2024 is when we can expect to not see hardly any games coming out for the PS4 and Xbox One generation. But however, we do have a stack of games for both PS4 and Xbox One, and we have some of the best games to showcase with you. Now, these are games that I personally think that were the best on the console generation. If I can get my mic port or my headset freaking cord out of the way. But these are games that I personally think that these are some of the best games in my opinion on the PS4 and Xbox One. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a fabulous game, which a lot of people absolutely love this, and here in the next couple more months, we should be getting the free upgrade for this game on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, which what I expect with the upgrades is we're going to have the same graphical options as we do with this game on the One X, but instead of 4K 30 or 1080p 60 frames, it'll be 4K 60 frames and probably 1080p or 1440p at 120 frames, which for a gorgeous looking open world game to be able to play at a smooth 60 with high quality, or even 1080p 1440p at a somewhat of a decent smooth 120 FPS, that's going to definitely be a miracle. And I could see probably people are going to fall in love with this game probably more. So, The Witcher 3 is one definitely good game, I will say. Now, you're probably all going to hate me for this one, but this is Skyrim. Now, you could probably, like this game has been out for roughly over 11 years now, almost about to be 11 years. And you could say that this game was originally for the 360 and PS3, but Bethesda did a really good job, especially remastering this game for the PS4 and Xbox One. Like, as soon as I seen the different visuals when I got the PS4 version, I was like, wow, okay, the graphics definitely look more detailed. So, Skyrim is another good game that I like on those consoles. Now, I have not played a ton of this game, but I have heard some positive things with this game. Now, I prefer this one over the newest one. And yes, we are talking about Watch Dogs 2. Now, Watch Dogs Legion, I did play it for a little bit, and I actually got a hard copy of it from a buddy of mine that basically gave it to me for the PS4. And I wasn't really too thrilled with Watch Dogs Legion, like, at all. But Watch Dogs 2, I will say I wasn't a big fan of Watch Dogs 1 either, which I know a lot of the fans did love Watch Dogs 1. But I have to give it to Watch Dogs 2 being the best Watch Dogs out of the 3 Watch Dogs series. And honestly, like, gameplay is really smooth. It's got really... this game still has really good graphics still to this day, even if you play on a base Xbox One. But if you want the best version on console to play this on, you're going to have to play this on a 4K television on a PS4 Pro. Now, this game is not enhanced for the Xbox One X, but it is enhanced for the PS4 Pro, and that's because the PS4 Pro came out when this game launched, and the Xbox One X was basically a year later, so they didn't release any patch notes for an Xbox One X enhancement for this game. Now, this is a game that a lot of the fans do not like, but there are some that even still to this day, even over the newest one that just came out, which is Halo Infinite, that honestly don't like this game, but there are some that still do. And this is definitely one of the big Xbox One exclusives ever, and that is Halo 5 Guardians. Now, people said the campaign was not super good, which I can honestly tell, but when I played some of the multiplayer on this game, it was pretty decent. It was pretty fun. I did like the multiplayer on this game a lot, and this is definitely another good game. But if you want the best version for this game, you're either going to have to get this on PC or play it on the Xbox One X. Now, this game did come out on, only running at 900p on the base Xbox One. But if you play this on the One X, you're definitely going to get native 4K resolution, which is almost 3 times the resolution than 900p. So this is definitely a nice one to play. Now, this game was one of the early PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games, but it still to this day holds up, and I think this is still better than the second one, and that, of course, is the very first Destiny. Now, a lot of people are probably going to disagree with this, and some are going to agree, but I personally think that the first Destiny is still, to this day, better than Destiny 2. Mostly because, the story of it, and also, it's not as confusing, and you don't have, Bungie now just making you pay, $30 to $40 for each individual DLC, twice a year to play more story content and da-da-da. With this game, you did pay, I think a couple different storylines, but that was pretty much it, and you had pretty much a lot of upgrades to work forward to, and a lot of things to buy, so I have to give it to Destiny 1, also being another one of the best games on the PS4 and Xbox One. Now, this game, a lot of people also did not like, but there were some that did, and I heard that this game had a lot of bugs at launch, but now it's definitely a lot more improved. And with this one, you do get an Xbox Series X and S, basically higher frame rate and graphics, enhancement, and that, of course, is Gears of War 5. Now, we are supposed to be getting a Gears of War 6 sometime in, I think, from what I've read, it's a rumor to be next year or 2024, or hell, it might be 2025, but I know that I read a rumor or something that said the next Gears of War, which would be 6, is still quite a ways away. So this is still going to be the newest Gears for probably quite a little while now. But Gears 5 was definitely another good game that really honestly looked good on the One X. And if you play this on the Series X, you are definitely going to get an upgrade, visual enhancement, and also better performance. Now, this game came out late in the PS4 and Xbox One's life cycle, but man, this game just absolutely it looks so gorgeous. Like, this is probably one of the most prettiest, last generation games ever. And honestly, I have to give it out for, not Bethesda, but Obsidian that made Fallout New Vegas. The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds, as soon as even if you play this on a based Xbox One or PS4, the visuals still look absolutely stunning. But playing this on an Xbox One X and PS4 Pro and mostly the One X, dude, the visuals on this game look absolutely outstanding. And honestly, like I mentioned, this is one of the prettiest visual looking games on the 8th generation of consoles of the PS4 and Xbox One. But that is definitely a good game. Now, this game is also another good visual looking game, and this game came out early in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One's life cycle, and that is Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is definitely another great game. I still think that even over Fallout 76, which a lot of people are going to agree that this is still the newest and best Fallout game out of this one and the newest one, 76. Now, this one is basically just single player. 76 is basically just this, pretty much, but with an online only and pretty much no story mode. It's basically just an online adventure, whatnot to play with your friends. But if you don't want to play online, then this one is the best one to play. And honestly, when I seen the visuals between this one and 76, I honestly kind of have to say that I still think Fallout 4 looks more better when it comes to visuals than 76 did. And probably a lot of people would honestly agree. So, and then moving on to our last two Xbox One games before we switch over to PS4. And these games originally were on the PS3 and 360 generation, but they got remasters, and they also got, 4K enhancements, and they definitely look way better than ever before. And that is the Borderlands series. This is Borderlands 1, the Game of the Year edition, and this one is the Handsome Jack collection, which comes with Borderlands 2 and also the pre-sequel with all of their DLCs on all three of these games. And these are some of the best open world shooters and all that good stuff that a developer has ever made. I truthfully am a super heart-loving fan of the Borderlands series, and when it comes to graphics, dude, they may not be realistic, but man, are they good. They are absolutely good. And now, because we got 4K enhancements to play these on the PS5 and Series X, and even the One X and Pro, even with playing these on backwards compatibility is what I meant on the new consoles, these have never looked any better, and gameplay is so much more fun with these nice, wonderful games. So yeah, the Borderlands is definitely one of my favorite franchises ever, and I cannot wait. There's a new game out right now called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and I've already put so many hours in that game, it's not funny. So now we're going to move over to PlayStation 4 games. Now, this is basically considered also just the best games on the generation, not just for PS4, but we have, these are the just games that we have for PS4, but there are some exclusives in this that we are going to show off that have great. And actually, one of them is an exclusive for the PS4, and that is God of War. Now, the next God of War is rumored to be released on September 30th of this year, if I'm not mistaken, from something that I read a few months ago. And this one a lot of people really liked, and this actually got Game of the Year for 2018. And honestly, like, when it comes to visuals, this is definitely one of the most impressive looking PS4 exclusive games ever made. And I do have to give it, when it comes to visuals, this game definitely does have really sharp visuals on it. And this is another great exclusive. This exclusive for the PS4 originally was on the PlayStation 3, but it got remastered in 2014, just basically a year after the PS4 launched. And actually, there's the newest one that also came out in 2020. And these literally, I have to say, probably has some of the best storyline in any video games out there. And I have to give it for The Last of Us series. This is The Last of Us 1, which, as you can see, The Last of Us Remastered. And this is The Last of Us Part 2. Now, these both have tremendous graphics, tremendous storyline, and honestly, like, I would say probably the storyline is more attractive on both of these games than the graphics, and I have to agree so much more. And like people say, graphics doesn't always make a game. As long as gameplay is solid, a story is so good, which these definitely both have tremendous story. I think that this is probably the second franchise that has the best story in video game history. Like, literally, if you want to ask me any top 3 or top 4, best storytelling video games out there, The Last of Us are both, the best storytelling out there. They're the second best storytelling, in my opinion. But yeah, these were definitely really good games, especially to play on the PS4, and they definitely have PS4 Pro enhancements, so I would definitely get it. And I did forget to mention that there is a rumor that both of these games are going to be getting remade for the PlayStation 5, especially this one is. This one is supposed to be a complete remake, but this one's going to be like basically just like a remaster port of Director's Cut on the PlayStation 5. So I'm definitely looking forward to replaying these with their best visuals. Now, this one for right now, if you have the PS4 version and you put it in your PlayStation 5 and upload it, you will definitely be able to play this game with an unlocked frame rate of 60 frames a second on your PlayStation 5. Not the PS4 or the PS4 Pro, but only if you have the PS4 version of this game and you got a PS5. So if you install this on your PlayStation 5, you are definitely going to get and unlock 60 frames per second. So I would definitely highly check that out on the PS5 if you haven't played it, or maybe replay it, because it does have some replayability. Now, these are definitely probably my best favorite Call of Duty games on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One generation. And Call of Duty did manage to sell more on the PlayStation 4 than the Xbox One. But these are probably my best favorite two Call of Duty games on the 8th generation of consoles. This one was the last one, and this one was right when the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X first launched, and this one was the last Call of Duty game before the Series X and PS5 first came out. And as you can see on Call of Duty World War II, it says right there, best-selling franchise on PlayStation 4. So these Call of Duty did manage to sell more copies on PlayStation 4 than Xbox One. But yeah, these are definitely the best two Call of Duty games when it comes to Call of Duty on the 8th generation consoles. I have to give it for these because of the gameplay and the storyline, especially for this one, well, and this one too. They have really great, they're just better overall Call of Duty games in general. So, another good game. Now, this game came out somewhat in the middle of the console's life cycle, but more towards leading late in the console's life cycle, but this game did manage to come out after the Pro and the One X did launch, and it got the enhancements for both consoles. And Far Cry 5 is another great last generation game that I think looked good. This game definitely does have wonderful visuals, wonderful storyline, huge open world. Now, the map on this one, it does seem like it's more like linear, smaller, and whatnot compared to like the other, two Far Cry games. But when you are not looking on the map itself, but you're playing, your main character on the game itself, the map is absolutely huge. So this is definitely another good game that I have to give credit for being one of the best 8th generation games out there, and I have to definitely give it to Far Cry 5. Now, Far Cry 6 is amazing, and it's out, and I still think it's somewhat better than Far Cry 5, but Far Cry 5 absolutely is still breathtaking. It's still one of the best looking visual and storytelling games out there on the PS4 and Xbox One. Now, this game originally was on the PlayStation 1, not the original Xbox, but then again, Microsoft didn't have a console at the time. The PlayStation 1 was basically the onlyest powerful console at the time. But this series originally did started on the PlayStation 1, and it was considered a PlayStation 1 exclusive. But it got remastered with its 3 classics, and this is one of my all-time favorite games in the world. Not just this particular game, but the franchise of himself, and that is Spyro. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. This is the 3 classics from the PlayStation 1 that got remastered and so much, more better than ever before on both the Xbox One and PS4. And even if you play this game on the base Xbox One with only getting 900p, the game still it still looks visually impressive, even if you play this on a base Xbox One. But if you want the sharpness that you can get, this game does have an enhancement to run at 1440p natively with upscale 4K on both the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. But like I said, you get the 3 classics, so this is not just one game. You get 3 games in this classic, and Spyro is forever going to be my life. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you think I'm a little kid. Spyro is going to be forever for me until I die, until he's no longer around. So, Spyro will forever live in my heart, no matter what goes on. So, now we're down to the last 3 games. And this game, this is the number 1 most popular game out there, no matter what. This game is literally on every platform out there, whether you're talking about console, PC, mobile, or handheld like the Nintendo Switch and Wii U and whatnot. This game is literally on pretty much every platform out there, and that is Minecraft. Now, Minecraft is absolutely this may not be the best visual impressive game out there, but this game has managed to sell over 200 million copies and is the number 1 most profitable and most selling game out of all video games in history. And Minecraft definitely is really addictive if you get into the game, especially like the survival mode. You're going to really get into it, because then there's so much to do and so much to work for, so much to go, there's so much to do on this game that you just stay into its ecosystem. So Minecraft is definitely another good game. Now, this game originally did started out on the PS3 and 360 when it came to consoles, and it was for PC since like 2010. But it has gotten better over the years with all kinds of updates and much more added features and whatever. And we are supposed to be getting this game on the Series X and PS5 with ray tracing, and that right there is going to be appealing to even more fans that are going to want to continue to play this game, especially with its ray tracing capabilities. And it's going to make the game look more visually impressive, even though right now it is not one of the most visually impressive games because it's just arcade. So now we're moving on to our last 2 games, and honestly, these are probably my favorite games when it comes to the PS4 and Xbox One 8th generation of consoles. And I have to give it to Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, we just recently got a port of a remaster for this for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And yes, if you want the best version to play this game on, definitely get it for your PS5 or Xbox Series X if you got one. But if not, the game still looks visually impressive, even if you play like on a base PS4 or Xbox One. But this game definitely does not. So if you want the best console version of this game you're going to have to play it on the Series X or PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X. That's what I meant to say. But if you want the best version of this game, you can play it on your next-gen console, but this game does not have any enhancements and has not been remastered for the next-gen systems just yet. But there is a rumor that this game is in the works of coming out for the PS5 and Series X, and also will include the first Red Dead Redemption, which is going to be incredible. And both Red Dead Redemption 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2, in my personal opinion, is the best storytelling in any video game out there. The Red Dead Redemption series literally is my number one pick when it comes to storytelling. Honestly, that Rockstar has done so good with both of these games. And yes, Red Dead Redemption series is my number one pick when it comes to the best storytelling in any video game history out there. And like I mentioned with the other games, the second best storytelling history franchise out there I have to give is The Last of Us. So when it comes to storytelling, The Last of Us and the Red Dead Redemption franchises are the best when it comes to storytelling. So, yeah. So if you want the best version, like when it comes to visually, you're going to have to play this on a PS4 Pro or Xbox One X, or play it on your PS5 or Series X via backwards compatibility. But like I mentioned, this game, Rockstar has not made a native port for the next-gen systems like they have with this game. So your best choice is to play this on the base, or I don't know, I was about to say base PS4 there for a minute, but the PS4 Pro or the One X, or just play it on the PS5 or Series X via backwards compatibility. But all of those games right there are some of the best last generation games out there that I honestly think developers nailed it out of the park. And honestly, like I mentioned, I honestly think that by like late 2023 to like sometime maybe even late 2024, so roughly only like a couple more years, if that, is when I think that developers are going to start fading out from developing their games on the last generation hardware. So I think by late 2023 to like sometime mid 2024 is when we're only going to start getting solid native PS5 and Xbox Series X games only, and PC as well. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys could, smack that like button. If you are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to leave us a comment down in the comment section down below if your thoughts about us showing off about our pick of some of the best, probably the best last generation games out there to play that developers actually did great job on. So just leave us a comment down in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit that like button, and also subscribe if you are new, and we'll keep you all posted with more future content like this going forward. And be sure to hit that notify button so you will always be notified with every new video we upload going forward. But without any further ado, this is Tech and Gaming Reviews, and we will see you guys on the next video. Peace out.